Welcome into this special edition of Beyond the Arc right here on High School Cube News. Brian Chimino with you with Michael O'Brien of the Chicago Sun-Times. Going to preview 3 of the top holiday tournaments taking place in the state this weekend and throughout next week to get you guys ready for some big tournament here. Mike, let's start with the McDipper taking place in the south suburbs. Marian Catholic, easily the most favorite team here. There's some other teams that could kind of put a question mark by them.
Bloom left the Dipper, which is a big deal. You know, they're at Pontiac now, and they would have been one of the top teams in this. So Marian Catholic is totally the clear favorite right now. The field is a little weak. Right now I got the Final Four as a Thornton-Bolingbrook game. Thornton didn't start out like we thought they would. They got a big win Sunday over Hillcrest. So I think they can probably advance against a Bolingbrook team that's very talented, still trying to kind of put it all together. And then I'm guessing maybe Hales or Joliet Central against Marian Catholic. That Hales-Joliet Central, second round game should be a good one.
So we know about Tyler Eulis and Marian Catholic. What about some other individual talent we can see?
Joliet Central has a decent team. Jonah Coble is worth seeing. He could be a decent player down the line. You've got Thornton has Justin Taylor. He's a good player. None of these guys are D1. That's kind of keeping this tournament down a little bit. Bolingbrook has Prentice Nixon. He's definitely a D1 player. He might be the highest scorer besides for Tyler Eulis in the tournament. He's worth checking out for Bolingbrook. That's kind of what pushes Bolingbrook, likely into the final.
And that is the McDipper taking place at Rich South in the south suburbs. Tip-off early the day after Christmas on December 26th. Let's move on to the Pontiac Holiday Tournament. It's been around longer than the Hunger Games, the 83rd annual Pontiac Holiday Tournament. Mike, we talked about 6 teams that have been previously ranked or are ranked, are in the field of 16 here.
Yeah, it's obviously got, the upper echelon with Simeon and Curie, but then it's got a bunch of teams that are all pretty evenly matched, from Bloom and Oak Park, West Aurora. There's a lot of teams that'll be fighting it out in there.
What about a Final Four we can look at? Like you said, there's a lot of really good teams in here.
Yeah, the Final Four does seem pretty clear. It's probably Oak Park against Simeon, and then it's Curie against most likely Peoria Manual. That could be a tough matchup for Curie. Manual guard-oriented as always. They can always handle the ball very well. They're going to give you hell in the backcourt. So you have to wonder if Curie is going to be able to get over that hump. They're rated number 1 by some people, so they should. And Oak Park Simeon, you got to give Simeon the clear edge in that one. Although Oak Park, with Eric Locke, he's the type of kid, he takes a lot of shots, but sometimes he makes a lot of them. He's a pretty high scorer, so if he goes off, you never know what could happen.
So what about West Aurora? You have them losing there to Peoria Manual?
Well, West Aurora has to play my Joliet West Tigers in the first round, so who knows if they'll even get out of that. Most likely they will. And a lot of times, it's a good point, West Aurora does pretty much emerge at Pontiac as a good team. Maybe because a lot of us don't go see them early because they're out in Rock Island over Thanksgiving, but it's a chance. They have John Terrell Walker. He's a great player. Roland Griffin is kind of an underrated physical guy. They could definitely make a run.
So pretty much you're looking at a Simeon Curry championship game, which just be dynamic. You usually see that in the semifinals. So that's the 83rd annual Pontiac Holiday Tournament. Again, tipping off the day after Christmas on the 26th, bright and early at 9 a.m. Let's move on to the 2013 Proviso West Holiday Tournament. Not the only tournament in state with 32 teams. We got about 3 or 4 of those right now. We did the entire bracket right here on High School Cube News. You can check that video out from last week. But Mike, when you look at the entire bracket, 32 teams, what do you think could be your Final Four?
It's a really good Final Four. They do have 32 teams, and Pontiac and McDipper only have 16, but it's definitely, the highest quality Final Four of the tournaments, which hasn't been the case, frankly, over the past couple of years. So Proviso West is back a little bit when you look at that. Up top, definitely Stevenson. Barring a major upset, will be there, and they're going to be waiting for the winner of St. Joe's and Proviso East. That game could go either way. That's a neighborhood, pretty much a family matchup. Those kids are all so close. I'd probably go with St. Joe's, with Glenn Watson and Jordan Ash. So that's just a dynamite matchup there with Stevenson and St. Joe's. That's going to be one of the best games in the state this year to watch. I'll probably take Stevenson to win that one since they looked so good. We saw them against Libertyville. Looking at the bottom half, you're definitely going to have Morgan Park. They should be able to get through, their couple quadrants. But then it could go either way, I think, with Bennett or Bogan. Bennett's got Sean O'Mara, they've got the great shooters, they've got the great coach. Bogan has the better athletes, better man-for-man team. I'll probably take Bogan in that one, so then we're going to wind up with Bogan and Morgan Park, who, are in the same conference, going to play together. Got to take Morgan Park in that, so then you're looking at Morgan Park Stevenson in the final, and that is just a top-notch game. obviously could go either way. You have to like Stevenson because they have Jalen Brunson. But that Final Four is super strong no matter who gets there. If it's Bennett or Bogan, if it's Proviso East or Joes, that is definitely the top Final Four in the state.
And you mentioned Jalen Brunson from Stevenson, but there's also a lot of good individual talent in this tournament as well.
Yeah, you got the backcourt from St. Joe's, which is always worth watching. Morgan Park has Josh Cunningham, who was the best player last year at this tournament. He didn't play a couple games, had some asthma problems early in the year. We haven't heard about him, but he's probably the top unsigned senior in the state. He was the MVP of this tournament last year, so maybe, this is going to be another big Josh Cunningham coming out party. He's looking for a college scholarship, right now, and so that always really motivates kids.
That'll do it for this holiday tournament preview edition right here on High School Cube News. Check back next week for a whole new edition as we go over the results. Brian Chimino with Michael O'Brien. We'll see you guys next week.